Whether the team is performing clean or unsightly, we'll cover it all here on Washington Football Nightly. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So I told you guys that I would get pretty reckless should we beat the Carolina Panthers. I haven't yet quite approached the territory that I told you I would, but tonight we're going to cross the line. So I was thinking, and I've alluded to this before, and I was talking, semi-reckless last week, but it was kind of like a throwaway line last week. If Dallas loses 2 out of their next 3, and, we win all 3 of our games, it sets up a situation where we finally scratch a claw way back to 500, and Dallas is 8-4, and our game in week number 14 would be to cut that deficit to 1, and yada, yada, yada. Okay, you see where I was going with that, right? So, my guy Derek B told me I sounded like, I was trying to sell you guys on a Ponzi scheme. It somewhat did. It was funny. But we won the game against the Panthers. So now it becomes a little bit more closer to a reality. Cowboys took care of their end of the bargain, losing to the Chiefs. Now they just got to lose one of their next 2. We got to take care of our business on our end and win the next 2. And, we'll see what happens when we get there. We can only take it one game at a time. Seattle's up next. See what we do there. But I want to open your mind to the world of possibilities that exist if we can continue to do the things we've done the last 2 weeks. Now, again, it's a small sample size. It's only 2 games. And I think the opponents have been really quality opponents. We haven't beaten Detroit like Philadelphia has. And I don't want to sit here and compare victories because at the end of the day, nobody cares. You beat who you beat, you get what you get. And at the end of the season, if Philadelphia has 9 wins and we only have 8 and they make the playoffs and we don't, I'm not going to sit here and argue about whose schedule was tougher, this, that, and the third. They won 9 games, we didn't. That's the bottom line. As I always tell you, it doesn't have to be aesthetically pleasing. No one's going to go back 6 weeks after you win an ugly 16-13 game and say, oh, you only won that game 16-13. They're just going to see a W. They're going to count it in the left-hand column, and they're going to keep moving. If you have enough in the left-hand column, you get to play bonus football. So I'm not going to compare our victories, but they've been impressive ones, I feel like, against 2 teams, one that we know is going to be in the postseason in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the other that is going to fight for a playoff spot and may ultimately be there when it's all said and done, the Carolina Panthers. I think they're only going to get better. I'm glad we actually caught them when we did, because 2 weeks from now, Cam Newton may be fully immersed in that playbook, and they may start to really hit their stride offensively. That said, I feel good about the 2 teams we just beat. I feel good about the 2 teams we have coming up on the schedule because they look like food, okay? And damn if we're not hungry. We're starving. So hopefully the hunger continues and we devour the next 2 opponents. And again, whether we leave some, meat left on the bone, but still get the win, or we clean the entire bone and start chewing up the bristle, regardless of what we do, I just want it to be a dub, right? Say we do complete this 4-game situation, clean it up 4-0, and head into divisional play at 500. Really, that's what you ideally want at this point. That's the best case scenario. It's to wipe the slate clean going into the final 5. Pretty much say, okay, guys, brand new season, 0-0. Let's see what we can do with this 5-game stretch. If we get back to 500, and then we get that home game against Dallas, I like and they've lost 2 out of 3, or all 3. I don't think they're losing on Thanksgiving, but no. Look, the Raiders are desperate. We'll see. The Cowboys are banged up. We'll see. We get to 6-6. They're 8-4, and we get them at the crib. I don't know what the crowd will be like. I don't know if fans will show up or not. It's Dallas, right? And if we've won 4 in a row, I'd like to think there are going to be plenty of Dallas fans in the stands. Trust me. It doesn't matter how good we are. They're going to infiltrate the stadium. But I think there'll be a lot more Washington fans than normal because when we play Dallas, that's usually the best turnout for the season. And if it's early in the season and the fans haven't figured out that we stink yet, or we're actually semi-good and we are playing Dallas at home, there's a chance that Washington fans show up and show out and make it feel like a true home field advantage. Either way, that's irrelevant. My point being, I think if we can get back to 6-6, one game at a time, as the OG continues to tell us, Seattle first, then the Vegas Raiders the week following. If we can get back to 500, no matter what the Cowboys do, even if they win their next two and they're not 8-4, but they're 9-3 and we're 6-6, we're still within shouting distance at that point. And a win over them in that first meeting sets up a monumental. And don't forget, the Cowboys still got to play divisional opponents. They still got Arizona on their schedule as well, do the Cowboys. Like, they're not out of the water, right? We've seen them lose to lesser opponents this season. They should have lost to New England. They got away with one. They should have lost to the Chargers. They got away with another one. This team is vulnerable. They're dealing with injuries just like everyone else is. They're starting to come back down to earth. And the Eagles are playing much better than the first time they saw the Eagles. They've got the Eagles again. That's not till week 17, however. And they've got the Giants again. And they've used up pretty much all of their home divisional games, except the one against us. They used up their Giants home game in the division. They used up their Philadelphia home game in the division. They've got to go on the road and beat these teams. I'm not saying they won't do it. It's just not as easy to do. When I look at Philadelphia's schedule, it's doable. But we play them twice. I can't state that enough. No matter what they do, if they take care of business, they should be 7-6 heading into their bye week in week 13. They should be 7-6, or excuse me, their bye week is week 14. They should be 7-6. If they beat the Giants this week, it's on the road, so it's not going to be easy. If they beat the Jets the following week, they should be 7-6. And right there in the mix. This division is starting to tighten up. But I'm looking at Philadelphia, I'm looking at Dallas, and I'm saying, you know what we're all fighting over. That shit is ours, right? You do know we are the defending NFC East champs, and until somebody takes it from us, that's our crown. That's our belt that you eyeballing right there. That's our chip. Why can't we defend what's ours? That's all I'm saying. And whether we're a wild card or a division winner and we get a home playoff game, I'm going to just say it right now. They better not let us in this bitch. They better not let us in this tournament. If we keep, now again, if is a big two-letter word, it's the biggest two-letter word in the English vocabulary. If, infinite possibilities after you say the word if. You can say anything you want after you say the word if, because it's not real. If is an imaginary thing. It's a figment of our imagination. It's the things that we say to make ourselves feel better. If we keep playing defense the way that we're playing, which we thought we were going to be playing the way when the season first got underway, if this offense continues to play with confidence and we get Logan Thomas back and he adds value, we get Curtis Samuel, never, ever trust a man with two first names and he adds value, and we continue to play the kind of football that we've been playing. If Joey Slye continues to be a big revelation for this football team, keep splitting uprights with his extra points and his field goals, if we continue to do the things in the red zone that allow us to put points on the scoreboard and keep other teams out of the end zone, if we keep playing with this level of confidence and stay relatively healthy while doing it, if we take care of the football while still creating turnovers, if we continue to convert on third downs while stopping the opposition from converting at a high rate on third downs, why can't we get into the tournament and do damage? I'm not saying we just get there and we're happy like last year. We were just happy to be there, man. We were just happy. Hey, man, we didn't know what we were doing. What are we doing here? Oh, my God, this is so great. Look around. There's the Packers over there and the Bucks and the Saints. Man, we haven't been here in a long time. This is great. I'm not just happy to get there this year. If we get there, I'm looking to do massive damage. Seriously. Because I've said this already. I'm going to continue to repeat it until we are no longer a viable playoff option. I'm going to continue to say this. Nobody in the conference scares me, not even Arizona. Nobody. I look around at all of these teams and I say, we can beat every single one of them. We could have beaten Green Bay, could have, should have, would have. We didn't. But we could have beat Green Bay. We were right there with them, had the ball, went up and down the field on their defense. Okay? Just like we did Carolina. It was supposed to be the number 2 defense in the league. I couldn't tell. Sorry, not sorry. Tampa Bay smothered the Giants last night. We made it look easy last week or the week before last. Okay? We moved it up and down the field on them as well. So I look around at the NFC landscape and I'm like, I'm not afraid of Dallas. And we got them twice. We're going to see. They could kick our ass 2 times. We'd be like, look, we don't want any more smoke with Dallas. Okay? That could happen. But we're not afraid of Dallas. The Rams don't know if they're coming or they're going, and they got a quarterback that's never been in this position before. So we don't know what the hell they're going to do. The Packers, I don't believe in the Packers yet. They still haven't won me over. They got Aaron Rodgers. That counts for something, right? But outside of that, I'm not floored and blown away by them this season. The only team I look at and say, if they're healthy, I don't know, man, is Arizona. And I still got doubts about them because they've never done this before. Kyler Murray doesn't know what the playoffs look like. Their head coach never been in a spot like this before. So I don't really know what to expect from them. But I can just tell you this, Taylor Heinicke has more playoff starts than Kyler Murray. That's all I'm going to say. So at the end of the day, I said all of that to say this. This division is not out of reach, no matter what the Cowboys do, because we still have to play them twice, and they've still got games on their schedule that they can lose. The only thing we can worry about right now is us. Because if we don't take care of that end, nothing that anybody else does matters. Sort of like what I said when talking about stopping the Buccaneers offense. Hey, if you don't do this first thing, then the rest of the things that I'm going to talk about are rendered obsolete. They're irrelevant. They don't matter. Because that first thing is going to give you an opportunity to do these other things. You don't do the first thing, you can't do those other things. That one thing was get Brady off the spot. Same thing in this scenario and situation that I'm describing right now. If you don't win games, none of this other stuff that I'm talking about matters. It's not going to come to fruition. You win ball games, now we're talking about some serious shit. I like where we sit. I like the way the schedule is falling. And I love, this was the thing that I said I wanted to have happen and wanted to come to fruition. And now I didn't envision it happening the way that it did, where, we've got to get super hot, white hot, just to have a chance. But I said, can we just get to those back 5 and have them matter? Whether it be for a wild card or the division, let us control our own destiny. Because if we don't get in, at least we can say it's because of us. We didn't do the things we needed to do. Because all you want is right in front of you. The Eagles are fighting for a playoff spot. You got them twice. You want the division? You got the Cowboys twice. What more do you want? You got everything you want in front of you. You just got to take care of business. That's all any team ever wants, is a chance to handle it themselves. Yeah, we'll still be watching the scoreboard. Damn, is Dallas going to lose to the Raiders? Yeah, we'll still be watching the scoreboard. But at the end of the day, if we don't take care of our end of the bargain, the other end is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. But I like the way we're playing, and I like the fact that we may be on the mend, and we're still waiting for some guys to come back. And if we get healthy, without the guys we were waiting on, we're playing excellent football. If we add those guys into the mix, it makes us that much more dangerous. So I'll say it once more. This division is not out of reach. I like our chances if we keep playing the brand of football that's allowed us to win 2 straight. I think we can come back and get what's ours and then do some damage. So let's get to in other news, where Washington made a couple of roster moves, which I'll tell you what these roster moves signify for me. I could be wrong here, okay? Washington made 2 roster moves today in which they released 2 guys off of the practice squad. All right, don't ask me their names. They're irrelevant at this point. The point is they were removed from the practice squad, right? They were released, which frees up 2 practice squad spots. Why is that important? They're not looking to fill those spots with 2 more guys off the street. They're looking to fill those 2 vacant spots with guys that have been occupying active roster spots, meaning somebody or 2 is coming off of IR. Logan Thomas and ... Somebody else could be, or they may feel like they need more center depth, offensive line depth. So they may want to bring in another offensive lineman that will give them a little bit more flexibility there. And Logan Thomas coming off of IR ... Okay. Or could be Logan Thomas coming off of IR. And don't forget, Daryl Roberts was allowed to practice last week. And when we have 21 days to activate him to the active roster, if he isn't already back, and I don't think he is, he could be activated to the active roster. And those are your 2 guys that they're making space for. 2 guys off the active roster then have to go. You have to release them. They have to clear waivers, and then you put them on your practice squad. So that's my thought process, is that they're making space for a couple of guys off of IR that they want to activate in Logan Thomas and Daryl Roberts. We'll see. We'll see. Curtis Samuel was never on IR, so they don't have to activate him. He's on the active roster already, so it's not Curtis Samuel. So we'll see. And again, I could be wrong, and they could be doing this to make some moves to go get guys that give them more depth because of some injuries that have been sustained. That could be the reason they did this, and it has nothing to do with Logan Thomas or Daryl Roberts. That's just the way my brain works. I think it's for Logan Thomas and Daryl Roberts to occupy 2 spots on the roster and free up, the space needed for the 2 guys that they're going to remove because they like those guys. Obviously, they were on the active roster. Like Danny Johnson will probably be the guy that goes at the cornerback position, and he's played so well. I really want them to just leave him where he is, to be honest with you. But we'll see what they decide to do. It'll be interesting to see how they decide to play it. I wanted to do this exercise with you guys real quick. It's called What's the Difference? Okay, I'm going to play a little game with you guys. And I want you guys in the comment section to play along, if you will. And you know what? We'll do this a little bit later on in the show because I don't want to, run the super chats out of the mix and have those not be available for me to read. So tell you what I'll do. I will talk about these injuries real quick, and then we'll transition to social media maneuvers. So I want to talk about, a couple of guys coming off of injury. Logan Thomas, that's going to be huge. Curtis Samuel potentially could be huge as well. Again, we're on Curtis watch. We're on Logan watch. And, until those guys actually play, I'm not penciling them in anywhere. You know what I mean? And it'll be interesting to see how practices is run and how those guys perform in practice. Do we go all the way through the week cleanly with, FPs? Is there a, LP, LP, FP? Is there an LP, LP, DMP? And then, whatever the case, like, we want to see progress each and every single day. We don't want to see any setbacks. We don't want to hear about any swelling. We want each guy that we are looking to get back to, practice the entire week without any issues. Furthermore, how about the guys that did sustain injuries? No one's asked about J.D. McKissic. I don't know if the media didn't know that he sustained an injury in the game, but he didn't play at the very end. When I thought it was interesting how they divvied up the carries. Remember, that last drive when we were trying to burn clock, they initially had Jaret Patterson out there. So I want to see what's going on with J.D. McKissic, because we didn't see him late in the ball game, and I think he sustained some type of foot injury. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. There's nothing there to see, and that's why no one's asking about him. Sam Cosmi obviously left the game, did not return. I fear that it's the same hamstring that kept him out for almost the last month. And then, of course, we heard the news, and I don't know if all of you did, but yesterday we found out about our center that went down in the game on Sunday. It's a sprained MCL for him. Wes Schweitzer, ankle injury. How significant is his ankle injury? So a lot of moving parts there. Want to find out the status of a lot of those guys to make sure that they're all okay. I don't think we incurred any more injuries than that throughout the course of the game. It was a relatively clean game outside of the offensive line really getting banged up. So hopefully the news reports are good for those guys, and then we can move forward with the guys that are on the mend that we're trying to get back. So let's get to our next segment, and social media maneuvers. And I want to get to the comment section real quick and knock out a few of these, and then we'll play the little game that I have for you, because I find it interesting, how some of us feel, and we'll get to that later. I want to start with Mr. Ron B. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mr. Ron B. writes, Lou, our game against Carolina marks the start of a run where where for the most part we face mobile quarterbacks. Rotating fresh linemen and maintaining disciplined pass rush lanes will be crucial. So that is correct. Derek Carr is not a mobile quarterback. That's the only guy in that mix that isn't a mobile quarterback. But as you mentioned, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, all of these guys are mobile quarterbacks. Daniel Jones, we don't see him till week 17, but he's in the mix as well. So you're absolutely spot on. We have to maintain pass rush lane integrity, and we have to make sure that we're continuing to set that edge, to turn all of those runs back inside. Don't allow guys to get to the outside where there is little to no help. I said this during overtime. I'm going to reiterate it. I thought James Smith-Williams did a phenomenal job of forcing Cam Newton back inside. And then one time he got help from Jamin Davis, where he flew out there and Cam was like, okay, let me just get my ass down. I don't want any smoke. 52's coming like a damn speeding bullet. Okay. I thought we did a phenomenal job of not allowing Cam to turn the corner, forcing him back inside where the help is, and really minimizing his runs. Obviously, the big touchdown run was the only true, difference-making run he had in the game. Everything else was pretty modest to a loss. So I thought we played it really well in the game. He had the third down run. That one hurt because we almost got off the field and got great field position for the offense. They ultimately scored on that possession as well, so that made it hurt even more that we had him in like a 3rd and 5 or so. He juked the snot out of Casey Toohill, put the brakes on. Toohill couldn't stop, cut inside of him, got up the field, and ended up getting the first down. But outside of, a couple of runs, I thought we really contained Cam Newton well. But, Cam Newton's getting up there in age. He's not the same athlete that he probably once was in his 20s. Jalen Hurts, and I don't really know if Dak Prescott really scares me as much anymore. He used to really, but I feel like we can kind of neutralize him and his legs. He's not looking to really run as much as he used to. But Hurts is a different animal. He's a different beast because he's looking to run, whereas Dak is really looking to do damage from the pocket. Same with Cam at this point of his career. Hurts he don't know no better. He's looking to hurt you with his legs. So, yeah, that could be something that, causes problems. Russell Wilson, I feel kind of like how I do with Dak Prescott. If you give him the opportunity, he'll take it and he'll hurt you, but he's really looking to do damage from the pocket. So they don't run as much read option with Russell Wilson as they used to. But yes, to your point, mobile quarterbacks galore. We got to be prepared, and we have to make sure we defend accordingly. Thank you for the super chat, Mr. Ron B. See, got a super chat here from Trevor Patch. Thank you for the super chat, Trevor Patch. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Shout out to all my Patreon subscribers. Really appreciate you as well. My guy Trevor Patch writes, Lou, 3 NFC East teams instead of South in playoffs. It could happen. It could happen. With the way that the Eagles are playing, with the way that we're playing right now, it's trending in the direction of we may get 2. You know what I'm saying? May not be 3, okay? But we may get 2. Because I still think that of these 3 teams, one of them is getting in. Minimum one is getting in. Carolina, San Francisco, Minnesota. At minimum, one of those 3 teams I think is getting in. We already know the NFC West is getting 2. We already know the Rams and the Cardinals are getting in, right? So that's 2, teams from that division. I think there's going to be either a 3rd in San Francisco from that division or a 2nd from the South with, Tampa getting in, and then the Panthers also getting in, or there could be a 2nd from the North with the Packers obviously winning the division, and then the Vikings adding their name to the playoff list. I don't know if we're going to be strong enough to get all 3, Dallas, Philadelphia, and Washington in, but it's very plausible that you get 2 out of those 3 in there, whether it's Dallas, Philly, or Dallas, Washington. I don't think there's a scenario where Dallas doesn't get in, but I think you could easily sneak Philadelphia or Washington in there. And again, if the Vikings and the 49ers fall off of a cliff, we've already beaten the Panthers, so have Philadelphia, then things get really interesting, because then that's when you start entertaining the idea of maybe all 3 getting in. And that would be something. We go from NFC least last year to NFC East with 3 teams getting in. So I guess that would be the NFC feast. Guess because it's Thanksgiving. Don't steal that one. Thank you for the super chat, Trevor Patch. Jake Willis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Jake Willis, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. What you talking about, Jake? What you talking about, Willis? Right. Team has impressed me. After losing 4 straight and losing Chase Young, they could have felt sorry for themselves. He says, but they showed some toughness and picked themselves off the mat. That's the kind of resolve we've been looking for all season long that we haven't necessarily gotten since week 4 at Atlanta. We've been waiting for this team to show the mental toughness and intestinal fortitude that allowed us to win 4 straight last year and get back into the mix and ultimately win the NFC East. We've been waiting to see that team show up, and we haven't gotten it, up until post-bye, but now here we are, and we're starting to see a lot of what we saw last year during that run. And the thing that's encouraging is during last year's run, we were playing bad teams. You felt like, hey, this is fun. The only good team, legitimate team we played in that mix was Pittsburgh, and we all know that they were a house of cards, and we just were the first team to pull one of the cards out of the base of that house of cards, and it was already a shaky foundation, and it ultimately crumbled in the first round of the playoffs. This year, I feel like this, and I said this already, this team is better than last year's team. And the offense is way better than anything we put on the field last year at any point. The defense, while it doesn't have as many, stars potentially on the field, I think it's a more experienced group. It's a smarter group. And I think it's a confident group. So, and I've already said they're battle tested now. Last year, when we saw a potent NFL offense, we got our asses handed to us last year. We got smacked around by the Browns on the ground last year. We got smacked around by Detroit last year with Matthew Stafford. We got smacked around by teams that could move the football. Obviously, Tom Brady and company smacked us around in the playoffs. Anytime we saw a potent offense, the Jared Goff-led Rams smacked us around, right? But this year, we've seen the creme de la creme, the best that the league has to offer. We've seen all of them. We haven't missed one of these quarterbacks. We saw Justin Herbert. We saw Josh Allen. We saw Matt Ryan. We saw Aaron Rodgers. We saw Tom Brady. We saw Patrick Mahomes. Okay? We've run the full gamut at the quarterback position. So I feel like we're more battle tested this year than ever before. So I like you, am really excited because of how we've shown resolve. And I've talked about the resolve we've showed as a team overall. And even the resolve, and this is probably the more impressive thing, is the resolve that we seem to be showing in game now. Panthers score first, take the lead. Crowd is raucous. It's a really tough environment to begin with, and the Panthers march it right down the field and score. Make it look easy. We go 3 and out right after that. Defense has to come back on the field after just giving up an 8-play, 75-yard drive for a touchdown, in which the Panthers made it look relatively easy. Now the defense has to come back on the field. Earlier in the year, they fold up like a lawn chair. The Panthers go get more points, and now we're in a deficit, a 14-0, 10-0 deficit, and now we're begging the offense for something. And on the next possession, the defense gets the stop. The offense moves it down the field, and they fumble. Gibby fumbles. Earlier in the season, that fumble turns into points. We can't overcome it, and it snowballs out of control like it did against Buffalo. Same thing happened. Buffalo went right down the field, scored on the opening possession. Defense got a stop on 4th down, if you recall, on the second possession. Gave it back to the offense. Offense, I believe, had a little something going. Logan Thomas fumbles. Buffalo takes that, scores a touchdown. They score again. It's 21-0 before we fight back and make it 21-14. But that snowballed out of control. Didn't happen in this game. Gibby fumbles. We settle down. We get a stop. The offense gets it back again, and this time they deposit it into the end zone. The in-game resolve of picking yourself off the mat, dusting yourself off, and getting back in the fray. We did it against Tampa. Every time they had an answer or a response to what we did, we had an answer to what they did. We never let Tampa take the lead. Carolina tried to run away from us. We wouldn't allow it. 7-0, we're not going away. 14-7, no, come back here. We take the lead 21-14. We had a chance, and that's the next step, is putting your foot on the opposition's throat. We had the ball up 21-14, driving, and then we had our drive in Panthers territory implode right in front of us. Started with a sack, then a delay of game, and you ultimately get nothing out of the drive that was promising. Worst case scenario in my head, we're going for at least a field goal to make it a 2-score game. That's the next step. We haven't gotten there yet, where we put our foot on someone's neck, squash and crush their larynx and their esophagus and keep it pushing without any remorse. We're not there yet. But we're trying to evolve to that team. But Panthers tie it up at 21. Guess what we do? We take the lead back, get another stop, put another 3 on the board, and get the final stop and win the game. 4th down and 3, we make it happen. Find a way. That's what the good teams do. Find a way. Thank you for the super chat, Jake Willis. Rob U, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Rob U. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB Rights. Lou, that Saints and Broncos game still got me. You got to let it go, Rob. They in the past, they in the rearview mirror. There's nothing you can do about it now, man. You know, those were winnable games. You know what else was a winnable game? The Chargers game. We shouldn't have been in that game. The statistics say we should have gotten beat 36-13 in that game. Time of possession was skewed heavily in their favor. They went 14 of 18. Don't count that last kneel down, okay, which resulted in a third down field conversion. They went 14 of 18 on third downs, and they had a 39-23 time of possession favor. They dominated us. 6 ways to Sunday. They got pressure on the quarterback, knocked Fitzpatrick out of the game, got pressure on Heinicke. They dominated us, and yet we were ahead 16-13 with less than 7 minutes to go in the game. I mean, you got to let it go. Those games aren't coming back. They're not going to give us a mulligan. You don't get to do them over. It sucks. But we're 4-6. We got to make do with what we've got, and we got to move forward with the situation as is. These are the cards we dealt ourselves. Okay, we shuffled. We dealt this hand to ourselves. Now we got to play it. Nobody else shuffled these cards and dealt. We did that. We lost those games. Now we got to dig ourselves up out of the hole. We got to play these cards that we dealt ourselves. Rob U, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you, Rob U, who writes, Fuller and WJ3 were nice and quiet this past week. I think that was more of a byproduct of who we were playing. Like the Panthers, they don't really utilize their receivers. And with Cam out there, you couldn't think that they were going to really utilize those receivers all that much. Because, again, like Jack Del Rio said, how much of the playbook could he possibly know only having been there like a week and a half? There was only so much they were going to be able to do, which is why I said, don't look for them to score a bunch of points unless we're out there showing our ass, right? Don't look for them to score 30 like they did the week prior against Arizona. If we don't help them, we don't turn it over and set up short fields, don't expect them to score a bunch of points because their offense isn't set up to do that right now. And yes, it was nice to see those guys nice and quiet out there. Let's keep it up. Let's see them do it now against a team that has some stud receivers and a quarterback that's going to look to get them the football. And they're struggling on offense, but don't think for one second that DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett can't bless us, because they will. Hachoo! If we sneeze, they will bless us. So we got to make sure that we stay on our P's and Q's, Y's and Z's in this football game, because they're dying to break out. And as I mentioned already, their back is up against the wall. They're a wounded bird, and they're looking to fight their way out of the corner. This is their last stand right here. They lose this game to us, their season is over. We're starting to get to that point now where we can start eliminating teams off the list. Like, they're not making a run. At 3-8, you're done at this point of the season. So they're at that point now. The Phillies Ace 34, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. The Phillies Ace 34 writes, Louie, what's good, brother? What's good with you? Says, I am glad that you're not rocking that Braves hat, but the team that needs to worry is Dallas, especially if my Eagles in Washington hit our stride and other teams better not sleep. Well, I usually don't wear the Braves hat on the Washington show. I wore it that one time just to give us a little bit of championship luck. And it seems to be rubbing off on us a little bit. But Dallas, if they're not careful, they do have something to worry about, because as I mentioned at the top of the show, Philly's heating up. We're heating up at the right time of the season. Philly's got 2 winnable games heading into their bye week. If they knock off the Giants next week on the road and then beat the Jets the following week after that, they're going into their bye week feeling really good about themselves. Winners of that would make it 4 straight. And now all of a sudden the Eagles are 7-6 and over 500 for the first time this season. Because I don't think, or they won in week 1. So I take that back. They were 1-0. I don't think they've been over 500 since the week 1 victory over the Atlanta Falcons. I think they lost in week 2, and then they lost in week 2 to the 49ers. I remember that because I said, try that shit on the 49ers, and they won that. The 49ers beat them 17-11. So anyway, I digress. Bottom line is you're coming on, you're hard charging, and Washington is starting to play confident football. But again, if I'm the Cowboys, I'm not worried about a damn thing until, these other teams get to 500. You can't catch me if you don't get to 500. Okay, because the Cowboys aren't coming. They're not coming back towards 500. You got to go meet them where they at. So until I don't feel threatened if I'm Dallas until somebody gets to the Mendoza line. Once you get to the Mendoza line and they still tripping, that's when you start getting a little antsy if you're Dallas. But when you look down and you see 5 and 6 and 4 and 6, you're like, get the hell out of my face. The hell are these dudes talking about anyway? Still got a long way to go. Long way to go. But to your point, if they don't start winning some games and you continue doing what you're doing and we continue doing what we're doing, it could get really interesting very, very quickly. Thank you for the super chat, the Phillies Ace 34. Derek B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Derek B, writes, D is playing better without 90 and 99, 96 and 95 buying in. Question mark HTG. I don't know what HTG stands for. I'm just going to be honest with you. I will say happy Thanksgiving. Same to you and everyone else out there. Happy Thanksgiving. And I'm going to say it again before we get out of here. But happy Thanksgiving to you, Derek B. Is the defense playing better without those two guys? I don't subscribe to that theory. Sorry, not sorry. And they're going to be fans out here. And I was having a discussion on socials with somebody that was like, what's coming, right? Like people are going to come out of the woodwork. This defense is better without Tez and Young, Sweat and Young and yada, 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 yada. You're going to hear that now, right? Because that's what fans do. They say idiotic shit, right? You're not better off with less talent. That's never going to be the case. Sorry, not sorry. Sometimes it's addition by subtraction, but this isn't one of those instances. Okay. These guys aren't cancers. Okay. I said this before. The defense has been playing well since Green Bay. We had Sweat and Young in Green Bay. We had Sweat and Young in Denver. Those were two defensive performances that I feel like were the jump start, the kicker to where we are now. Without those two games, I don't think you get the game in Tampa. I don't think you get the game at Carolina. I honestly believe that a lot of our struggles had to do with the secondary and the linebackers and guys not closing up these zones and making it too easy on quarterbacks to get rid of the football. No, the pass rush wasn't great. I thought the interior rush on Sunday was as good as I've seen this season. I thought we collapsed the pocket around Cam Newton consistently, whether it was Payne, whether it was Ioannidis, whether it was Allen, whether it was James Smith-Williams, whether it was Casey Toohill, whether it was Tim Settle. I thought we just did a really good job of collapsing the pocket. And pressure is pressure. No matter how you get it, pressure is pressure. But the pressure that is immediate and right up the middle, that's the best pressure to have. Because there's no stepping up around that pressure. You get pressure from the edges, I can just step up if there's a pocket intact. You just step up, let that pressure go around me. You can't step up if the pressure's coming right at you from the interior. Just felt like that was the first time I've seen pockets collapsing this season. 90 and 99 are the difference between us being a elite defense when they're on their game and us being a good defense. You can't be an elite defense if you don't have dogs off the edge. It's impossible. You can try. But it's hard. The Ravens for years had elite defenses. They really didn't have a dog, but they had Suggs. They always had Terrell Suggs. But they really haven't had a true edge rusher. That's why I never could bring myself to call the Ravens defense elite. It's been good, but it's not elite because you don't have a dog off the edge. In order to have an elite defense like the 49ers were in 19, you got to have dogs. And they had them all up and down their defensive line that year. with Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner and Nick Bosa. In order to be an elite defense, you need dogs off the edge, like the Broncos in 2015 had, with Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. And they had some dogs, in the middle as well, right? So you need it everywhere, but you need it off the edge. Even the Seattle Seahawks in that little stretch there in 13 and 14, even they had dogs on that line. They had Bennett and they had Cliff Averill and they had Bruce Irvin. They had guys that could get to the quarterback, especially Averill. He was the one guy that was really nasty. And Bennett inside was damn near unblockable. So you got to have dogs, especially off the edge. We don't have that anymore. They may be playing more sound defense, and that's great. We need it. But that doesn't make us a better defense. You much rather have Sweat and Young out there. Don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, hey, Lou. What's up? I'm feeling so confident going into this game versus Seahawks. I want to see our D-line continue to play well through injuries this Monday. I watched that Seattle Seahawks game. They're still dangerous, okay? They're still dangerous. They are dangerous. They're scary because they have guys that can threaten us vertically. That scares the living hell out of me because I feel like the last couple of weeks, we've done a good job of keeping everything in front of us, and no one's really been challenging us because they don't want to turn it over. If it's not there, they're not going to do it. Aaron Rodgers, the reason every year you look up, Aaron Rodgers only has 7 interceptions, 6 interceptions, 4 interceptions on the season, is because he's not putting the ball in harm's way. If it's double coverage deep, he's not chucking it up and saying, my guy's going to make a play. He's checking it down, he's throwing it out of bounds, or he's running and sliding, or getting out of bounds himself. He's not putting the ball in harm's way. Teddy Bridgewater, we all know Teddy Bridgewater. That's his MO. He's Black Alex Smith. He's not trying to put the ball in harm's way. He should have thrown a pick in the game. Bobby McCain dropped it. But he's not chucking it deep into double coverage. That's not his thing. Tom Brady, same thing. Tom Brady just said, look, you guys are keeping everything in front of you. I'm going to check it down to my running back. I'm going to take what you're giving us. So he didn't really threaten us vertically. Same thing with the Panthers. That's not their MO. And it wasn't going to be with Cam Newton in his first start back in the league. It wasn't going to happen. This is the first week where we get a quarterback and 2 receivers on the outside that can both run, that are going to challenge us vertically, and a quarterback that's going to give them an opportunity, whether it's one-on-one or they're double covered. And now we're going to see if guys can not have pass interference. Can guys play the football? Can we stay disciplined? Because Russell Wilson is going to check us 2 or 3 times down the field. He's just going to take a heat check, a temperature check. Let's see what y'all doing back there. And if we aren't disciplined, we'll get a PI that gives them a 56-yard gain because they're going to try us. Unlike the last 4 weeks where teams haven't really been trying us, he's going to try us. It will be a test. Hopefully, we pass with flying colors. Everybody else is staying deep. And when they throw it up to DK Metcalf, there's 2 defenders back there. Everybody else is doing it. We need to do the same thing. We'll see. And the other thing, to your point, we need to get pressure on Russell Wilson. He's still dangerous. He's still dangerous. You don't get pressure on him, he will eat you alive. That's been the key, is getting pressure on Russell Wilson, making him uncomfortable. That's what I've been seeing in this struggle offensively for them. Teams are getting pressure on Russell Wilson. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. I think this is a double up for you, Trev. It is. Thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Trevor Patch, greatly appreciate you. My guy, Trevor Patch, writes, Phillies ace. You get your boy LB in check with that crazy talk about Phillies O-line breaking this D-line. Hurts can throw our kryptonite, the deep ball. Hurts can't throw our kryptonite, the deep ball. First of all, why is our team in his mouth right now, if that's the case, I haven't been watching. But why is our team? We're not on your schedule for another month. Okay. You got 2 games against New Jersey teams. Then you got a bye week. Then you get us. Why are you talking about us right now? You got a whole month before you see us for the first time. So we'll see when we get there. I don't have any time to entertain that. I'm taking it one game at a time. I can't look forward, a month in advance. I can't do that. We're not good enough to do that. We're not allowed to overlook anybody on the schedule. We take them as they come, one at a time. The next team on the schedule is the Seattle Seahawks. That's all I care about right now. Thank you for the super chat, Trevor, Patch. Luck, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Luck writes, we need to turn the stadium the F up Monday night. Let's let these MFers know we are here for real now. The motivation will be critical going into this stretch. I was thinking about, and I may still do this, and if I do decide to do this, you'll know because I'll do a little bit of a video or a YouTube short or something. I'm thinking about giving away some tickets to this game, to the mob. So I'll keep you abreast of the situation if I decide to do it or not. But I'm looking into giving away a couple of tickets to this game on Monday night against the Seahawks. So stay tuned for that. But I'll try to do my part to make sure that 2 more Washington fans occupy the stadium instead of 2 more Seattle Seahawks fans. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. And, it's just a little gift to my Mob Squad family and season's greetings. So hopefully stay on the lookout for that. Hope to have that up to give you enough time to prepare in case you want to go. Try to have that done on no later than Friday. If something's going to happen, Thursday or Friday, be on the lookout for that. Anyway, I digress. Rob Yu, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Rob Yu, writes, I see growth from Jamin. His speed is evident. Like that. We've seen flashes already this season multiple times. I talked about it against earlier in the season. I want to say it was Brady was running out. It might have been Brady. I think it was way earlier in the season than that, though. I'm trying to think of who he was chasing as a quarterback, and they just got rid of it. He was coming like a speeding bullet. It might have been Brady. I don't think it was 2 weeks in a row, though. It was earlier in the season. I just can't think of what team it came against. It was Mahomes. That's who it was. It was Patrick Mahomes was rolling out, and Jamin Davis was coming like a banshee out, screaming out of hell. And he got rid of it quickly, like threw it out of bounds. Like, okay, stop playing. You remember that back in the day? Okay, stop playing. And Cam was trying to get outside of James Smith-Williams, and he might have been able to turn that corner, but Jamin Davis was like, man, you better think twice about this, bro. He said, you're right. He slid down on the ground. I said, look at Jamin, boy, flying. So again, when he just goes, you see the speed, the game is slowing down for him, but he's still thinking, but I can tell you this, he's a cerebral player. He's really smart. I like his intellect. He came into the season playing smart football. Now what we're trying to do is unlock that smart play along with the athleticism at the same time. So what that means is he can be smart, but not have to think about being smart. Just do it so that he can play faster. Once we get to that point, you're really going to see Jamin Davis's full potential and talent on display on the football field. But yes, you can definitely see the speed. It's evident. Warren Jackson, thank you for your membership to the MOBB. Warren Jackson, stand up. You are officially the newest member of the MOBB. Glad to have you, Mob. You know what to do. Show Warren some love. Thank you for your membership, Warren Jackson, and welcome to the squad. Glad to have you, Warren. Welcome aboard. King of the North. Excuse me, skipped over one. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I just can't say enough how much I love the way we are winning. We are dominating the line of scrimmage. Seattle is desperate and dangerous, but I think they will get caught off guard by how physical we are playing. I love the way we are playing as well, because that physical play up front is leading to shorter drives on defense, longer drives on offense. And what it's doing is it's allowing this defense to not be overworked. It's allowing this offense to get into a rhythm, because it's hard to get into a rhythm when you're going 3 and out and you're punting. It's allowing for the game to be shortened, which is a good thing for us because we're still not one of the most talented teams in the league. So you don't want to get into a marathon. You don't want to get into a scoring contest with anyone. We're not there yet. So we want to shorten the game, and we want to keep our defense fresh and get them off the field as quickly as possible. And then we want to sustain offense and end those drives, whether it's with a touchdown or a field goal, with points. And we've been doing that successfully for the most part. So you're right. You know, whether we're running the football, which I think that's been the thing that surprised me the most, is how, you know, dominant we've been in the run game, you know, over the last 2 weeks. You know, even though the Buccaneers game wasn't, you know, a dominant performance, that's the best rush defense in football. One of the best in Tampa Bay. You're not going to just run it all over them. That's not how they operate, you know. And I thought when we had to run it, we ran it. That was impressive to me. And Carolina came into the game as one of the better, you know, run defenses. They've given it up on the ground before. I you know, outlined that during the week that you can run on Carolina, but they've been better of late against the run. But we destroyed them up front. It reminded me of last year's game against Carolina. Like, we had no business going away from the run last year when we were gashing them. Why Scott Turner decided that Dwayne Haskins needed to throw it, you know, 30 some odd times by halftime, it behooves me, because we were destroying them on the ground. And then when we decided to throw it, Taylor had all day. I mean, there were times against Tampa and times this week where he's going through his progressions twice because he's got so much time. I mean, that's fun to watch. It really is. You know, and on the defensive side, like I said, I can't remember the last time we collapsed the pocket like we did against Carolina. You know, we really did a good job of making Cam feel like things were closing in around him. He had to be claustrophobic back there because it was really, he had his hand on Jonathan Allen's helmet one time. That's because pressure is closing in. You don't hit your hand on the opposing team's helmet unless that guy is right on top of you. So I loved it. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. King of the North writes, is number 4 playing at a normally well? I think that was supposed to be abnormally well. We're going to assume that's what that is. Is number 4 playing abnormally well, or has he improved? If he's improved, can he sustain this level of play? Then I'm not putting a ceiling on us this year. It's the same thing we talked about when we beat the Steelers. After we beat the Steelers, we were all excited. We were gung-ho. And, you know, I remember, because I listened to the Kevin Sheehan Show podcast. I haven't listened to it in months, right? I haven't listened to it one time this year, but I still try to listen. So I'm going to play catch up at some point, probably in the off season when there's nothing going on. I'll try to run through those episodes and relive the season through their eyes. But last year I was on it, or, you know, I was off by, you know, a week or so, but I was on it for the most part. And I remember them talking about, you know, Chris Cooley in particular, saying that there was no ceiling to this team if they could get the kind of play they got out of Alex Smith in the second half of that Steelers game, where, you know, he had the bloody sock, but he led us to the scoring drive right before the half. And then we had the big drive to open up the second half with the wide receiver screen to Cam Sims. And he just made every big throw. Remember, there was a throw to J.D. McKissick. He's backtracking to his left throws it to his right to J.D. McKissick on a perfectly thrown ball that allows J.D. to get the first down. Alex Smith was in the zone that night. The throw to Logan Thomas, there's a defender coming, tries to pick it off right over his outstretched arms into the waiting arms of Logan Thomas for the touchdown. And then obviously the one-hander by Cam Sims down the sidelines. Like, Alex Smith was in the zone that night. And it had people saying, hey, if he can play that way with the defense, there's no limit to what this team can do. Well, that wasn't who Alex Smith was. He wasn't going to play that way all the time. And there was a limit to what this team could do. We're approaching that territory of having that conversation, but consistency, as I've said, and I've hammered this point home, is the key for Taylor Heinicke. I need to see it again and then again. And the more we see it, the more we expect it. Okay? The more we see it, the more we expect it. So he did it twice now in a row. Can he do it a third time? And this is a big stage. These are bright lights. He's not afraid of this moment. He's shown us that against the Giants already on a big stage, bright light moment. Okay? But I need you to do it again. If he can continue to play that way and the defense continues to play the way that they're playing, no, and that's my point, is there is no ceiling. We can go as far as this team wants to go if we can find a way to get it done. You know what this feels like as a Braves fan? And I hate this analogy because the Braves had made the playoffs and won their division, 3 years in a row prior to this year. And they were in the NLCS last year. So it's not an apples to apples comparison. I'm just talking about this season as a Braves fan, what this feels like. We lost Ronald Acuna Jr. and it felt like the season was over. We went out, we made a bunch of moves, and we won the World Series without our best player. I'm not saying that's what we're doing, but we just lost Chase Young. A lot of you don't think he's our best player, whatever. He was one of our best players. I think Terry McLaurin, pound for pound, is our best player on our team right now. But Chase Young won Defensive Rookie of the Year last year, and I was waiting for him to really rev it up, and I wanted to see what he was going to do on the second half of this season, and he gets injured. I want to see if we can have a Braves-like response to that injury and turn it up and do something big this year. We'll see. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, King of the North, writes, didn't we play well in prime time last year? I'm not nervous about the Monday night woes anymore. Am I crazy? No, you're not crazy. I told this to somebody. I want to say it was on Monday Night Overtime last night to the Washington fans that were in attendance on that video. I said, the whole primetime thing, that shit's over with. When Ron got here, that ended, right? So Cowboys game last Thanksgiving wasn't quite primetime. There was no other show in town. We were it. That's primetime to me. Technically, primetime is from 7 to 9 o'clock on the East Coast. So if you're not in that time slot, then it's not technically prime time. It's prime time, damn it, if nobody else is playing. If you're the only show in town, that's prime time. We did it against Dallas. We did it against the Eagles in week 17. That was on Sunday night. Okay, won those two games. And then the following week on a Saturday night at 8 p, we didn't embarrass ourselves against the Buccaneers with Taylor Heinicke making his first career postseason start and first start of the season, period. So that to me is over. You fast forward to this year, we played the Giants on a Thursday night, took care of business. I'm not worried about Monday night. Now, we didn't play on a Monday night last year, and we haven't played on a Monday night this year. I don't care. Personally, prime time is prime time, and I'm not afraid of us, wetting the bed and soiling ourselves on national television anymore. Not with Ron Rivera as the head coach. That was the last administration's problem, not this one. So, no, you're not crazy. Tony P56. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Tony P56, writes, Lou, thanks for all the shout outs. No, thank you for your generosity. You are a huge part of why this thing is turning around. Pat yourself on the back, man. Air high five. He says, I'm not going to say why, because that's when things go wrong. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, well, I'll say it for you. Okay. Once again, thank you for the drip. And you will see that hat again on Friday. Trust me, it's not going away. And if we win on Monday night, you'll see it again. Warren Jackson, welcome to the squad, man. Glad to have you. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Warren Jack, writes, join the MOBB today, ready to stand up. Good, because you in the building. Warren Jack, welcome aboard. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Trevor Patch, writes, Lou, did you catch Ron in his post-game presser on a question about our current DNs? They did their job. They weren't full of themselves. Shot at Chase Young. I didn't hear they weren't full of themselves. I didn't hear that part. I heard they did their job part. I would have to go back and listen to hear that second part of that answer because I didn't hear they weren't full of themselves. Because to me, that would be taking it too far. That's unnecessary. Even if that's how you feel, you don't need to say that. So I hope that wasn't said. Okay. But they did do their job. And I said that. And that's big, you know. But as a man, there's only so many times you're going to verbally disrespect me in a public forum before I start rebelling against you. You know, Ron's already aired them out once. That's enough. And I thought it was justified. The little piece he gave to Michael Silver on the Washington website, and we talked about it on this show. That was enough. Say it once, everybody hears it, and then everything, you know, and as a man, anything that you read in print, I've already talked to you about. You're not hearing it for the first time from one of your homeboys calling you up saying, yo, did you read this? Nah, I already talked to coach about that. I already knew about that. So again, I hope Ron is handling things the right way, and I hope he didn't say they weren't full of themselves. Because again, you need these guys to play for you, and you're not looking to alienate them. You're not looking to demean them. You want them on board. And so saying that they weren't full of themselves isn't the way to get that to happen. Because Montez Sweat is coming back this year, you know, and you want these guys to continue to play hard. And because you know how talented they are. Just like Antonio Gibson. Yeah, he fumbled, but we know how talented he is. We need him. Like he can't be on the bench. We need him. Tony P56, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Tony P56, double up, thank you for doubling up. Writes, I'm fooled. Less talented, but possibly more disciplined D in play could have saved the game. Kept Cam from scrambling and chipped on CMC on fourth. Cam couldn't step up or step out. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And that's why I'm glad they're getting to see this. Hopefully they understand what needs to be done. Sometimes taking a step back, taking a deep breath, and looking and learning is the best thing for a young player. Keep in mind, Montez Sweat year 3, Chase Young year 2. You're talking about guys that came from their respective schools as big man on campus. You get to the NFL and you want to continue to make plays and make a name for yourself, especially as you get closer and closer to your big payday, that contract, you know, that you can see in the horizon. The way you get those are sacks. You don't get those for, you know, making plays that somebody else makes, you know, the hockey assist. Oh, I got up the field, so I stopped this. That doesn't show up on the stat sheet. When we start talking contract, they're going to go straight to the sack numbers. They're going to go straight to your Pro Bowls and all pro appearances. And if you 0-0 and your best sack season is 7.5, you're not getting top dollar. So I know why they're doing what they're doing, but you got to get these guys to buy in. Hopefully that's what them being injured and watching from afar allows them to see. You get these instances of guys doing their job the right way, and you turn on the film and you say, hey, look, this is how we need you guys to do it right here. The opportunities will come. You see, James Smith-Williams got a piece of that sack. These opportunities will come to you. You just got to do your job. So, yeah, it might have saved that game. We don't know what Tez and Chase would have done had they played. We don't know what they would have done. You know, the likelihood is, yeah, they probably would have been rushing up the field, okay? Opening up space for Cam to extend and whatnot. But we don't know what they would have done. So yeah. Lorenzo Simpson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Zoe writes, if Heinicke can maintain this style of play, would you be willing to punt on this year's QB draft class being it's very thin for the following year? I mean, I don't know if next year's draft class is any better, right? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. If Heinicke maintains this level of play, I'm willing to punt on the quarterback position altogether, period. But again, I got to see that. If I trust him to give us what he gave us on Sunday and the Sunday before that and against the Falcons and against the Giants, if I can trust him to give me those types of performances moving forward, you heard what the announcer said in our 3 victories before the one on Sunday. Now you add that one into the mix. But in the 3 victories prior to Sunday, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. In the losses, it was like, I think it was like 1 touchdown and like 7 interceptions. Okay. So now it's 9 touchdowns, 1 interception in the wins. If he's going to play at that level with a 9-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, continuing to build upon that, take care of the football, make timely plays, distribute the ball, get it to Terry, get it to the playmakers, make things happen when nothing's there. If he's going to continue to make those plays and then when necessary use his legs, I don't need another quarterback. I got one right here. But again, it's about consistency. Would I prefer a Josh Allen, big 6'5", strapping guy, huge arm, athleticism, can make all the throws? Sure. But I'm not bypassing a guy that has already shown me the ability to do it here for a guy that I don't know what he's going to do when he does get here. So it's all about consistency for Heinicke. We'll see. As of right now, I still remain unchanged. I want a quarterback. If he continues to be consistent, that narrative could change very quickly. But that's what these final 7 games are all about. Showing that maturity and that consistency that we're looking for. Remember, this man only has 8 career starts under his belt. A lot of people like to conveniently forget that. He's got 8 career starts under his belt. He's learning. He's growing. He's getting a better grasp. Some of these throws that you're seeing, you go, wow, like the throw to Terry in the end zone, that's an A++ throw, okay? That's an A++ throw. He waited until Terry cleared the safety, got in front of the corner, and put it in the perfect spot where only Terry could get it. That's an A++ throw. He's getting better weekly. So, yes, I'd be willing to pass on the quarterback position. John McDowell. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy John McDowell writes, before, we're in the red zone, either an interception or a field goal try. Now, we're in the red zone, touchdown or field goal. And that's how it should be. You should get something out of your possession. There was a stretch there where we were getting nothing out of these possessions. You know, once we made the switch from Dustin Hopkins, we went from at least we think we're going to get 3. We weren't sure. You never know when Dustin was going to decide to miss, but he didn't miss that often. Like, we got to stop acting like Dustin was missing, 2-3 kicks a game. He was missing a kick every other game, right? He only had missed 3 kicks when we got rid of him, but they felt like huge kicks. Anytime you miss a kick, you miss out on an opportunity for momentum, no matter how big or small. So, and that Chiefs one, that was a massive swing in the game. You go from potentially taking a 6-point lead to giving the Chiefs the football, not with great field position, but with good enough field position. And they scored a touchdown and they never looked back. So that was the last straw for Rivera. And you go to blew it, and then you go to a situation where you're not sure if you're getting anything now. You get down there and he's getting kicks blocked, and you're not sure if you're getting anything at this point. Nothing. We got nothing in Green Bay. I mean, I can't remember being more frustrated from an offensive standpoint in the red zone than I was after the Green Bay game. I was so excited and encouraged by the defense's play that it overshadowed my disappointment for the offense in the red zone. And and then the call on Heinicke's touchdown that they took back, which was garbage, that led to the fumble and all. Like, it was a lot of circumstances that hindered us in that game. But the bottom line is we didn't get any points in 5 red zone trips. We got 0 points. You can't do that in this league. And the crazy part is we lost 24-10. With that said, all of the nonsense we did, we lost 24-10. The Denver game, same thing. We get down there, get a kick blocked. I think we got 2 kicks blocked in that game. You don't get anything, and then Heinicke throws an interception on one of those. Like, you don't get anything because he starts pressing. Now he knows we can't put the field goal kicker on the field. I got to make a play. Now you're at the point where it's okay if our kicker has to come on the field. We're going to get points. It does something to your psyche when you think we can't send the field goal kicker on the field. We're not getting any points. It does something to Ron. It does something to Scott as a play caller when you feel that way. Ron was doing out of character stuff. It's 4th and 10, and we're going from our own, 35-yard line instead of kicking a 53-yard field goal. Too close to punt. Should be kicking a field goal, but you don't trust your kicker. So now you're going for it. It's 4th and 10. We're having a tough time converting 4th and 4, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6. What makes you think we're getting a 4th and 10? We're not. Because you don't trust your kicker, you do crazy things. It's a much different feeling we have right now on offense. That's for sure. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Trevor Patch writes, Hall of Fame punter Tress Way is our best player. He's not a Hall of Fame punter, first of all. There aren't many of those in NFL history. Secondly, he was our best player once upon a time. You never want your punter to be your best player. Tress Way is no longer our best player, and that is a good thing to say. And I never want to say that our punter is our best player ever again. Because if your punter is your best player, that means you're one of the worst teams in football. And we were. When we were 3-13 and our punter almost had a all-pro season. And the one thing we could hang our hat on is, hey, let's get Tress Way to the Pro Bowl. Like, that was one of our initiatives that year. We were awful back in 19. But that's no longer the case. There are other guys that have stepped up that say, all right, I'm that guy. None more important than Terry McLaurin at this point. The Phillies ace 34. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, the Phillies ace 34 writes, Louie, has Sirianni shown he can coach compared to Joe Judge, or is it beginner's luck for our coach because of the lack of expectation? His next game is a trap. Yes, the next game is a trap against the Giants. I feel the same exact way. It's a trap game. Let's see if the Eagles can avoid that trap. It's definitely been set. It's there. Can they go around it, or will they step right in it? As far as can he coach, I think he's learning. Obviously, when he first started this season, he wanted nothing to do with the run game. That he stayed away from that like it was the plague. Now, all of a sudden, he realizes, oh, man, this running thing is pretty damn good. It's pretty damn cool. And we actually got a quarterback that plays well when we run the football, and he himself can run it and be a part of the run game too. So him embracing the run shows that he's willing to adjust and adapt to his parts. So now let's see if, they can continue to adjust and adapt and play smart football, and he can make smart decisions as a coach, when to go for it, when to punt, when to try a field goal, things like that. Those are all essential parts of managing a game as a head coach. And we'll see what Sirianni does, and how he continues to develop as a coach. Right now, he started rough, but now he's starting to figure it out. So we'll see what happens. as far as Joe Judge is concerned, yeah, I mean, Judge did, similar things in his first year. People thought that Joe Judge was going to be really good after what they did in year one. And, now I'm among them to think he's probably got to go. I don't think he's a really good coach. So it's hard to tell after just, halfway through his first season to be able to say he's this or that. I think you need at least 2 years. Matt Nagy was the best thing since sliced bread in Chicago after year one and winning the division and having all this creativity coming from Kansas City. And, oh man, best thing they had since Mike Ditka at quarterback, at head coach, and hell, he's not better than Lovie Smith. You know what I mean? And he stinks. They want him out now. So in year one, he won the division and he could do no wrong. So you need more than 1 year. I talked about that with Taylor Heinicke, consistency. Same thing with coaches. You need consistency. You need more than 1 year, so we'll see. Rob you, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Rob you. Writes, number 4 is playing better, but still don't think he's the long-term answer. Drafting a QB and letting him sit behind number 4 until he's ready doesn't sound bad. Again, right now, that's still the mode of operation. If I'm the organization, that's still the direction I'm headed in. Is can we find a guy? Heinicke's not it. That's still the move right now. But again, these 7 games could definitely change the narrative. I can't stress that enough. But right now, the goal is still to find a quarterback of the future. Nick Caps, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, we hungry. Eat some bird was 34, Washington 34, Hawks 18. We are hungry. I'd love to devour some bird, but we'll see what happens. That's a dangerous bird that's going to fight. And if we're going to eat that bird, we may come out with a couple of scratches on us. But I don't care how it looks and what we got to do to tame that bird. I want to put it in the pot, boil it, and then I want to stuff it and then put it in the oven. So I'd love to get these boys and end their season effectively. So we'll see what happens. K80 Tick, thank you for the super chat and thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I need Lou singing There's Been a Murder Monday night when we gash those Hawks. That would be nice. I would love to sing the murder song. I would love for caution tape to be all around with a chalk outline of where the Seahawks were. They were already put on the stretcher, put into the ambulance, and whisked away. They're already down at the coroner's office. That would be nice. Would be really nice. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I just want to win. And in the process of winning, if we could, take it to those boys I honestly think it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of you think, to be honest with you, because that's not who we are. We're not a blowout team right now. That's not what we do. And to take it a step further, on Monday night, every time Peyton Manning and Eli have decided, that game's trash, we don't need to do it, we're going to skip it, that's usually the games that ultimately end up being good. They get the duds, if you've noticed. They get the games where we're in the fourth quarter and they're talking about everything but football. The games where they're not there, those are the games that come down to the wire. You know what I mean? I think that might happen in our game. I don't care what it looks like. I just need us to come out victorious. That's it. Jeff Antonio, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Although I don't trust you, you have 2 first names. I appreciate you. Jeff writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Jeff? What defense would be most comparable to Washington's defense? had they played as well as the hype and expectations from the beginning of the season? What defense would be comparable? I think with the way that we're playing right now, I think a good defense to compare us to would have been like the Titans. What they've done this season, how they've been opportunistic, how they've gotten pressure on the quarterback. It's really been a collective effort. 1 week it's Harold Landry, the next week it's Jeffrey Simmons, the next week it's what's the guy's name? Shucks. Can't think of him. Used to play with the Raiders and the Colts. But yeah, they spread the wealth around on the defensive line. And then, they got, guys in the secondary making plays. And they got a solid linebacker core. And it doesn't knock your socks off, but they play together well as a unit. And I think that's a good example of what we can be. I think another defense that I think is underrated, doesn't get enough credit, but I think we're more talented than them. I think they're better coached than we are the Indianapolis Colts. I like the way that they play as well. But I think they're better coached than our defense because I think we have more talent than they do. I just think they get more out of what they have than what we get out of our guys. But those would be two defenses that I look at and say, we can play that way. The Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans. Jonathan Lang, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, "What's up, Lou? What's up, Jonathan?" Says, "Been a mob." He said, "What's up, mob?" Y'all heard him. What's up? Says, "Been a little while. Thanks for making our Washington football experience better and your hard work. Hail." You know what it is, Jonathan. You know what it is. I ain't going nowhere. And it's good to know that people like yourself and others out there aren't going anywhere either. And so sometimes it can get rough, and when we were 2-6, it seemed like it was going down a path that we weren't prepared to deal with this season. But here we are, 2 weeks later, reset button has been pressed. And now we feel like a brand new football team with a chance to do some big things. So I'm here for all of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. I'm here for all of it. And the good thing is a lot of you are as well. Gear Cell 1. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Gear Cell 1 writes, "Louie T, what's good? What's good with you, Gear Cell?" He says, "Just saw Russell Wilson wearing some camouflage butt-out yoga pants at practice today. Tragic. Ron's plan is making me a believer. It's good to hear that you're starting to believe again. That's good. But you probably need a little bit more reassurance. So hang in there. I think more reinforcement is on the way. But Russell Wilson is dangerous, even if he's got on some camouflage yoga pants with the ass out. He's still dangerous. So I'm not going to sit here and act as if I expect to just run roughshod all over them. They're, like I said, they're dangerous. They're desperate. They're where we were 2 weeks ago. That's where they are this week. And they have the weapons to make some noise if we're not careful. We have to get to Russell Wilson and make him uncomfortable. If he's got time and he's loading it up and he's throwing it, no one throws a better moon ball than Russell Wilson. Things could get pretty ugly. So I want to see us attack them. Don't give them any confidence. That's the thing that the teams that they've played of late have done, is they've really stymied that offense and made everything hard for them. And, defensively, I think Seattle's gotten better, honestly. They're not giving it up like they were earlier in the season. So the defense is actually playing solid football. It's just the offense is giving the defense nothing to work with. So I would like to really put them in a bind early by not only holding down their offense, but also really getting at that defense and applying more pressure on the offense by making them feel like they have to get out of character a little bit sooner rather than later. Martin Matthews, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Martin Matthews, writes, hey, Louie. What's up, Double M? Do you know why Sly was available for us and not on any team already? Yeah, I do. Because Sly's the guy that you like a lot. He's the side piece. You don't marry him. You got a kicker. Your kicker's hurt. You call on Joey Sly. And that's what happened this season. Now, he had an opportunity. He started out the season with the Panthers because he was their kicker last year. Remember, he was in Carolina with Ron, was Joey Sly. So he was already in Carolina, and he struggled last season, and I think the Panthers cut him loose. And I thought the Panthers mismanaged him last year. They were sending Joey, just because he had a big leg doesn't mean you can send your kicker out there for all kinds of idiotic kicks. They were sending Joey Sly out for 62-yard kicks and 59-yarders, and he'd miss, and people would get upset. Don't send your kicker out there for that shit. You know, it's one thing, you know, I get it. I told you, I'm not big on sending my kicker out there, even if it's, and some of those were before the half. Some of them were at the end of ball games when they had to have it. I don't want my kicker to see the ball not go through the uprights. You send him out there for a 59-yarder before the half because he's got the leg and he misses. That could play tricks on him when you go and send him out there for the 39-yarder or the extra point after the touchdown. I just want him to get into a groove, see it keep going through the uprights, and just stay in that headspace. But I thought the Panthers misused him last year. Anyway, he was available this year, and what happened is he bounced around. He was in Houston. He didn't kick consistently there. Their kicker came back from injury, Kamimi Fairbairn, and so they got rid of him. He goes to San Francisco. Robbie Gould was on the shelf. He goes there. He kicks okay, but he misses some kicks, extra points, misses a field goal. They get rid of him when Robbie Gould comes back. And that was his thing this year, is he was bouncing from team to team. When their kicker was down, they call up Joey Sly. He makes some kicks, but he'd also missed some kicks. And that's why he was available. He wasn't available the first time when Ron was looking for a kicker. He was on the 49ers roster still, I believe. It wasn't until after. And I think that's why Ron made the move. As soon as Joey Sly was released, Ron went and made the move to swoop him up. So, yeah, Sly has been solid but inconsistent throughout his career. When he came to Washington, it wasn't that dissimilar from Dustin Hopkins. I think when he got to Washington, he was like 13 or 16 for the season. Like, that's pretty much what Dustin Hopkins was. The problem was, what you didn't see there was he missed like 4 or 5 extra points in addition to missing 3 field goals. You add all of that up, that's inconsistency at its finest. So that's why he wasn't already on the team. He's got the leg, and I think, he's one of those guys that could find a home, So we'll see. Hopefully he does find a home, and because I've seen it with kickers in the past where, they have 3 or 4 stops before they finally find their footing, pun intended, in the league. And then they're a lights out kicker and you got your guy for the next, 7-8 years. So hopefully that's what he'll be for us. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Trevor Patch, writes, Tress Way has a higher career QBR than the GOAT. I'm not doing that with you tonight, Trevor. He's been nasty with the rock in his hand as a passer, but he's got 3 maybe career pass attempts. Remember when Stephen A. Smith listed him as one of our quarterbacks last year? Anyway, I digress. Tony P56. Thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Tony P56. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I see 5 more dubs if Scotty doesn't try to outwit the defense and stick to pounding the rock. Also, I like how he created McLaurin's number 2 is all the other wide receivers. Until you have another guy, you just got to spread it around. And that's what I talked about. Terry talked about mental health and how being the number 1 guy is rough. And what that said to me was Terry's like, yo, I need some help. And I told y'all that's what I got out of that. And what that means is, look, we don't have Curtis Samuel. We don't have a true number 2. So what you have to do is then spread the wealth. Make teams have to defend the rest of the football field. it's so easy to say, hey, Terry's our guy. We got to get it to him. And he's got to have 13 targets. But don't you think the opposition knows that as well? The thing, if you want to help Terry, get the football to Adam Humphries. Get the football to DeAndre Carter. Get the football to John Bates. Get the football to Antonio Gibson out of the backfield and J.D. McKissick. Spread it around. Get it to Dax Mill. Now you got them guessing. Now they don't know where the ball is going, and now they have to divert their attention elsewhere. Now you get that one-on-one you're looking for with Terry. And when you get it, you can't miss. So, yeah, I think against Tampa, 9 different receivers touched the football. In this game, I think it was 7 different receivers. That's the way it needs to be. Continue to spread the wealth. Rob U, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Rob U writes, I've noticed a lot of open deep shots not taken. For what team? Ours or the opposition? Ours or the opposition? Rob U, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Rob U writes, number 71 impresses whenever called upon. Very physical. I told y'all, when we first got him, I was like, that's a ho-hum signing. I wasn't overly impressed. But Wes Schweitzer quickly became one of my favorites. Remember, I told you guys that last year. Like, I said, look, Brandon Sheriff, love him to death. I would love to have him here, but I'm not looking to give him another franchise tag. Hey, I like what Wes did for us last year. I'm cool with Wes Schweitzer starting if need be. And when they went out and got Eric Flowers, I felt some type of way. I'm not going to lie. I was like, man, what you need him for? We got Wes Schweitzer. And Eric Flowers has been a dog this year, number one. And number two, it's not about Wes starting. It's about the depth that Wes gives us. And that's what I've talked about, especially on the offensive line, is that I don't want Cornelius Lucas starting. Why? Because I feel so good when Cole Luke has to come in the game. I feel, even though I don't trust him, he's got 2 first names. I feel so good when he comes in, whether it's left or right tackle. I feel good about Cornelius Lucas being in the game. We don't miss a beat. So if anything happens now, because it looks like Sam Cosmi's going to be on the shelf again. If anything happens, now we got to go to some guy that I don't trust at tackle. More likely than not, Sadiq Charles. That's scary. That's scary. Same thing with Wes Schweitzer. I love having the comfort of knowing if any of our 3 interior offensive linemen go down, Wes Schweitzer can step in. Tyler Larson did a great job. Hopefully the MCL sprain isn't significant and he can be back in 2 to 4 weeks. But it was comforting knowing, look, if anything were to happen to Sheriff or to Eric Flowers, it's not going to, little wood there. Wes was going to step in and we wouldn't miss a beat. We'd be fine. And every now and again, you get reminded that Wes is a backup. That Denver game, I thought Wes got bullied and pushed around a little bit. But for the most part, man, Wes is a dog in there, man. I love me some Wes Schweitzer. I showed clips last year of him being physical in the run game and just being nasty. He was our nastiest offensive lineman last year. So I like Wes a lot, man. That's my guy. So, now the depth is being tested and we need some of these other guys to potentially be ready to step up upon being called on, like Wes and Cornelius Lucas have done for us time and time again over the last 2 seasons. All right. So I wanted to throw this out here to you guys before we get out of here. I want to play a game called What's the Difference? So you've seen this before. I've seen people do it before. I've never actually done it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a profile for one player. That will be player A. I will give you a profile for player B. That will be another player. And I want you guys to tell me who they are. You ready? And then I'll explain why I've done this exercise. Player A, 6'1", 217 pounds, 4.51 40 time at his pro day. In the league, 61.5% completion percentage over the life of his career. 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio for his entire career. 88.8 passer rating for his career to this point. 356 rushes for 1,956 yards and 19 touchdowns for a 5.5 yard per carry average for this player. He's had one career start in the postseason. It was a loss. Who is player A? Here's player B. 6'1", 215 pounds, 4.62 40 at his pro day. 63.5% completion percentage for his career. 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio in his career. 81.6 passer rating for his career. 45 rushes, 287 yards, 1 touchdown for a 6.4 yards per carry average. 1 playoff start, 1 playoff loss. Who's player B? Okay. So player A, 6'1", 217, 4.51 40, 61.5% completion percentage, 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, 88.8% passer rating for his career, 356 carries, 1,956 yards, 19 touchdowns, 5.5 yards per carry for his career. 1 playoff start, 1 playoff loss. Player B, 6'1", 215, 4.62 40, 63.5 completion percentage for his career, 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, 81.6% passer rating, 45 rushes, 287 yards, 1 touchdown for 6.4 yards per carry average. 1 playoff start, 1 playoff loss. All right. So I want to see if you guys can figure out what's the difference. Who's A? Who's B? While that is going on and you guys are figuring that out in the comment section, I will read some more super chats. Got one here from Tony P56. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Tony P, says, you must be tired. That was a triple. This is a quad. Excuse me. I'm good right now. But I appreciate you, Tony P56, and you going quadruple on me. Thank you. Really appreciate you. My bad. John Perez, my guy, JP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I'm slowly starting to believe in Ron again after these 2 wins. That's the thing that frustrates me with some of you, is that it shouldn't take 2 wins for you to believe in Ron and what he's doing, right? Like, it's a process. You can't, and you're one of those people, JP, that you're at one end of the spectrum and then you're at the other. There's no in between with you. You either love the team or you hate them and everybody needs to be fired, or you love them and you're on board again. Do we have a shot against Seattle, and should Gibson get a ton of touches? Yes, we have a shot, of course, against Seattle. And yes, Gibson should get a ton of touches. Yes and yes. That is, to me, evident by them going back to him in the second half of the game against Carolina and the way he performed. And Ron talked about how impressive he was, and I was impressed. And I told you guys, outside of the fumble and the not going out of bounds, and Ron pretty much said he was horse-collared and thrown out of bounds. It was a really good performance, man. I thought he really ran hard after being benched in the first half. Thought he played well after that. Kevin, the PRF. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Kev, writes, please get the ball to Reyes. At the game, looking like Rudy standing next to the coach with his helmet on the whole game, even when the D is on the field. Hey, that man is happy to be out there. Leave him alone. Okay? He's ready to be ready. Nothing like a guy ready for his opportunity. What if the coach says, hey, get in there and play defensive end? He's ready. Leave Reyes alone. Okay? All right. So let's run through some of these real quick. Michael White just says Taylor Heinicke. He didn't give me a letter. Heinicke is player A, says Condo P. Christian Benoit says Russell Wilson, Taylor Heinicke. Condo then changes her mind and says Heinicke is player B. Christian says Heinicke is B. Jake Willis says Kyler Murray is A and Heinicke is B. Tony P56 says player A is Robert Griffin III. Kevin the PRF says one of these are Heinicke. Houston Burnside says RG3 sounds right. Christian Benoit says Robert Griffin III ran a 4.3, not a 4.5. Facts. Let's see. Omar, 2 times official, says Watson is A. Johnny 6874 says Heinicke is A. All right, so I'll tell you in a second. I got a couple more super chats. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Trevor Patch writes, too many stats. I need some Haskins pick book visuals. You're a damn fool, Trev. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. And thanks for all that you do once again. Who writes, what up, Lou? What up, Door Gunner? Says, looking forward to being home to fly up to the Dallas game December 12th. Could be a big game. Let's smoke these birds on Monday. Amen to that. I'm all for it. Make it happen. All right. And I assume you're coming home for the holidays. So good to have you back, man. Welcome back. So, Condo P says Cousins and Heinicke. All right. So, I'll go over them again and I'll tell you who they are. So, player A, 6'1", 217, 4.51 40 time. 61.5% completion percentage, 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, 88.8% passer rating, 356 rushes for 1,956 yards and 19 rush touchdowns. That right there should tell you, along with the 40 time, that's not Kirk Cousins. Okay, Kirk Cousins hasn't run that many times in his career. One playoff game, one playoff start, and one loss. And Kirk Cousins has been to the playoffs more than once. Once with us, once with the Vikings. So it's not Kirk Cousins. I'll give you another clue. Player A was a 6th round pick. Meanwhile, player B, 6'1", 215, 4.62 40, 63.5% completion percentage, 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, 81.6 passer rating for his career, 45 rushes, 287 yards, 1 touchdown for a 6.4 yards per average attempt. 1 playoff start, 1 playoff loss, and player B is undrafted. So, Player A is Tyrod Taylor. Player B is Taylor Heinicke. Why do I bring this up? Because there were fans in this, a sector of fans in this fan base that wanted Tyrod Taylor before the season started. Felt like he was the right man for the job, could come in and give us everything that we needed to help us win and win ball games and give us a chance to win the division again. I bring this up because what's the biggest difference between the two? Heinicke is, to me, a better passer. Heinicke is not quite the same athlete, but he's every bit the athlete that Tyrod Taylor is. Their numbers at their respective combines and pro days are very similar. You know, if you're running anything south of a 4.7 as a quarterback, you can fly, pretty much. Okay, Tyrod running a 4.5, that's a great time. But Taylor Heinicke running a 4.6 is an excellent time as well. You're not a lot of defensive ends are running 4.6s, okay, just so you know. So if Taylor's at his top speed and that DN's at his top speed, Taylor's going to beat him around the corner more likely than not. When you start getting to the backers and the safeties and the corners, that's when guys are running 4.6s, 4.5s, 4.4s. That's when you got to get your ass out of bounds or slide. But Heinicke's an athlete just like Tyrod Taylor. They're the same size, same weight. Taylor's had a bunch of injuries in his career, hasn't been able to stay healthy, but yet everyone believes in Tyrod Taylor. Why, do you ask? Tyrod Taylor had a decorated college career. Yeah, he played in the ACC, and Taylor Heinicke didn't play at a Power 5 conference, you know, but he had a decorated career. Same size, same type of arm. Tyrod's probably a little bit stronger, but it's not that much stronger. Tyrod doesn't have a cannon, you know, but he can throw it. Same kind of athleticism. What's the biggest difference between the two? One was drafted in the 6th round. The other went undrafted. And that perception goes a long way. Even if you're a 6th or a 7th round pick, you'll get opportunities because someone thought highly enough of you to draft you. The reason the narrative is what it is on Taylor Heinicke isn't because of his arm, and his arm strength isn't the greatest, isn't because of his size. Tyrod Taylor's the same size. We see short quarterbacks in this league all the time hang around for years. Don't tell me Chase Daniel is better than Taylor Heinicke, because he's not. Chase Daniel is ass, but he got drafted, and he's been a career backup. Taylor Heinicke can play. To what degree? We're still finding it out. That bar is the loading. Okay? We're right around 50% on the loading bar. But he can play in this league. And if Tyrod Taylor can start for multiple teams and be just looked at as a starter, a guy that has been around the league, was a starter briefly in Baltimore, was definitely a starter in Buffalo, went to the Chargers to be a starter, was a starter in Cleveland before getting injured, and now is a starter in Houston. If he can get this many opportunities to be a starter without being questioned, why can't Taylor Heinicke? I'm not saying, I'm just saying. And I'm not saying that we're looking for a Tyrod Taylor type. Nobody, you're not looking for that. I think Heinicke can be better than Tyrod Taylor. I'm just giving you the comparison of a guy that has gotten ample opportunities because he was a 6th round pick versus a guy that went undrafted and everybody just said he can't do it. And even though he's proving that he can, people are still turning the other way and saying, oh, it's because of the other team, not because of what he's doing. We'll see. But one thing's for sure. This guy that we got under center, he's got balls, huge ones, pause. He's a gamer. And right now, I wouldn't rather have any other quarterback in our division. That includes Dak Prescott. Give me our guy right now. And I love Dak Prescott. I think he's a hell of a quarterback. Give me our guy right now. Because with the game on the line, I feel like our guy is going to make a play of some sort. We'll see. That could be me just being in the moment right now. I definitely take him over Jalen Hurts. We don't even need to have a conversation about Daniel Jones anymore. He's not better than Dak Prescott. That's not what I'm saying, okay? Prescott, head and shoulders above any other quarterback in this division. It's not close. But I'm willing to argue with anybody that wants to tell me he's not the second best quarterback in this division right now. I'm ready to argue with anybody. Bring it on. So, anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T, here on this installment of Washington Football Nightly. Had a blast with you guys, as I often do. Look forward to chopping it up with you one final time tomorrow on Wednesday. Now, you more likely than not will get a Friday episode as well. I'll bang that out, and you'll get that on Friday with my keys to the game and my prediction, scoring more, and all that good jazz. So, be on the lookout for that. Again, I may decide to give away a couple of tickets for the game on Monday night. Stay tuned for that. And we'll see what happens with that situation. But just keep your eyes peeled on anything that comes out of this channel after Wednesday. Because if it does, that could be a chance at, a giveaway for 2 tickets to any member of the MOBB. So with that said, I am a Washington fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold until we meet again. Hail to our beloved Washington football team. Look forward to Thanksgiving. When I was a kid, they would always ask me, or ask the entire class, and they would go around, what are you thankful for? And of course, when you're a kid, you say, I'm thankful for my family. And, you say all the things that you could think of. Well, yeah, I'm thankful for all of those things. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for the health of those that I love around me. But you know what? I'm also thankful for each and every single one of you out there. This Washington football community, this family of non-Washington fans, Washington fans, all being able to come together. I'm thankful for every single one of you. And I hope all of you are in great spirits, great health. And I hope everything in your life is going according to plan in the way that you want it to. And if it's not, continue to stay the course, whatever the case may be, continue to grind, continue to push. But I thank each and every single one of you. I'm thankful for all of your support and participation and making this what it is. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there. And here's to Washington getting the win on Monday and Dallas losing. Maybe we could even get lucky enough to have Philadelphia lose to the Giants too. But I'm going to raise the glass, the imaginary glass. Here's to winning on Monday night and having the Cowboys lose on Thursday. And maybe if you want to throw the cherry on top, the Eagles lose to the Giants, but that doesn't have to happen. And honestly, if the Cowboys win, I don't care. We just need to win. Cheers. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. Until next time, you guys take care. God bless. And good night.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20.